You have to be careful with these because you could just, if you had it at the wrong angle, you'd go straight through there.
Greg's going to look putting these on the wall.
It's not great because you don't want to look at this and then it'd be uneven.
I have to move all these tiles on my own. Nobody else helps me. I'm the one that does all the work. So we've just had a delivery of some of these tiles. So you've seen Greg upstairs getting all these tiles on, looking great. But we've decided that we're going to put like a bit of a feature wall behind the bath in the main bathroom. So these tiles are basically a chevron, so it just makes a bit of a feature. They're going to look really nice up there. Greg's going to love putting these on the wall. Plasterers are in, as you've already seen. They're in here working their magic, getting this ceiling on, getting the rooms finished on this floor so we can get this wrapped up. Downstairs we've got the Sparky here. Upstairs is Greg. We're doing various carpentry bit downstairs. Pete's getting some linings in, James is putting patches in, and I'm sorting out some shelving and that in the bathroom. So it's all going, oh, and also Alex and Ian are in the back garden, starting to put the ACOs in. So I'll go and have a look at them and see what they're doing.
Originally, this is how the corners would have been in the house, so we're just trying to replicate them. Put a nice 45 on here, stop beads, really make it a nice feature. So it's the same off the top of the skirting and off the coving at the ceiling. Done the same in all the rooms on all the corners. This is how we try and set them out. Put a bit of bonding coat on here to get them all, find the centre point to make it all run through nicely, and then again put the beads on like we have in there. We'll do the same on this corner. And we're going to do the same on the fireplace, the two fireplace corners, all run through nicely.
So this morning I've been fitting these reveals around the window. So I've started up here. I actually had this one on, but it was a little bit short, so you need to ensure that these are tight. So I had a block which is the same thickness material as what I'm using, and I've just gone around trying it on all parts of the window, obviously offer my square up to it, and then sort of follow it all the way around, make sure I can get the same sort of margin, because you don't want to look at this and then it'd be uneven, because you want a nice even gap here and the same on that side. So I've just got one more piece to fit, so that's down to size now. I'm going to give it a little sand, and then what I do is I come in, so say if I was using that side, that replicates my margin for the architrave, and then my pilot hole will be somewhere about there, obviously countersinking it in, as you can see there. So that's what I'm doing this morning. Yeah, just working my way through that, just making sure it's obviously fixed nicely, all nice and square. And then yeah, be ready for plasterboard then, and then we can, after it's been plasterboarded and plastered, can then start fitting architraves. So that's what I'm getting on with. Okay, so obviously this has been cut down to size now, but before I fit it, you need to select the best side to have on show. This here, so obviously it's not great, but if we compare it to the other side, you want to select the side with the least knots, because when the decorator comes to do his job, he doesn't really want to be fighting against stuff like that. So I'm going to go along and try and put an X on both sides, and then when I've done that, I'm going to sand it. Just give it a light little sand, so you've not got no rough, because I've had to chop this down on the table saw. So you want to get rid of stuff like that. You don't want to see any saw marks on this. So we'll sand them out and then select the best sides and then go along and fit it, like I said earlier. because I've been instructed to use these fixings, which are 4x60mm screws by John and Phil, obviously if I was just to pilot that into there, like you've just seen me do, and not countersink it, I'm not going to be anywhere near the frame. So it might look a bit aggressive, the amount I've countersunk it in there. However, the screw really needs to go past that point on the timber anyway. So just to allow me to screw it in, otherwise you're going to be fighting against the timber and it's not going to work. And that's what happened upstairs. So I'm going to now obviously countersink these in. I've started now, and I've got an auger bit, which you have to be careful with these because you could just, if you had it at the wrong angle, you'd go straight through there. So I'm going to keep this fairly straight and drill these out, allowing, really, you could, if you wanted to, put a mark on the timber, but because all of this is going to be covered, it doesn't really matter in this instance. But if you want to be double sure where you are on the timber, you could offer this up like this. I'll do it this side for the cameraman. You can see where you are there, and if you just put a line on top of it, you don't have to go mad, just enough to allow the screw to go through. And then it's important that your pilot hole, which is this, is bigger than the thread of the screw to allow a clearance hole for the screw to do its thing and effectively pull into the material you're screwing into. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to hopefully fit it and it goes well. Only need to do it about that much, don't need to go mad. Just stand over it like this so I can see where the drill's going, and that should do it. So I've selected both my sides. That's going to go on there like that. This should be tight, because when I did it before, you don't want to see any gaps up here. So this helps to square this piece of timber up as well. Obviously you don't want it too tight to the point where it's pushing these screws upwards, but it's good for it to be tight because I need it to be. And then tap this round a bit. Yeah, now instantly that gap up there is a lot better than what I had before, because the mistake I made was I measured from the front down. So I measured from the underside of this down to the sill, which is fine, it got me close, but my datum point is actually there. So what I'd done to get a really tight measurement as opposed to doing that is I think I measured 700 down. So I put a mark on 700 and then flipped my tape round the other way and then just added the two together, and then I've got a really tight measurement, as you can see. That's a tip for anyone if you're measuring into a corner. I've gone along before and put all my margins on, and effectively I know that when I meet this line here, that the margin from here to there is going to be the same all the way around the window. So all I'm going to do now is just fire a screw into there, obviously checking it as I go along with my combi square, like that there. That's literally a mil, so that needs to go a mil that way, and then everything should be nice and parallel. And when you look at the window when you go into the room, it's not going to be gappier that side than it is that side. So that's all I'm going to do.
So this is the final stage of the internal metal studding that we've been doing these past couple of weeks. All I'm doing is I'm hammer fixing one of these rubber grommets. As you can see, what it does, it goes into the wall and creates a watertight seal between the exterior of the plastic and the membrane that's been put on. It just acts as sort of like, basically what it is, it's a raw plug with a grommet, which goes into the wall, hammers tight. As you can see, the rubber splurges out along the edges, which creates your watertight seal, which enables you to screw into it without there being a breach, so moisture can't get through. So we're just doing this in all the rooms and getting ready for our insulation. So that's the project for today.
Right, so this morning I'm going to be putting this metal tracking up here. We did originally want to batten the ceiling out, but because we don't know where this metal tracking terminates, I've got to get that sorted first. So as you can see on the floor here, we've set the laser so that we've given ourselves a little bit of room in front of this pipe here. So we've allowed for that and then pinged it up to the ceiling. And because we've got to encapsulate this ceiling in fireboard, we're just going to be using up some offcuts to run along here just to speed up the process and get the ceiling battened out. Waiting on an answer from John now if we've got any more of this on site or whether we need to get some more, but that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be putting some fireboarding up there, and then that'll enable me then to get my tracking put up, which will then give me a point to go to when I'm battening out the ceiling. And the reason we're battening it out is because we've got to run some ventilation from the bathroom next door through this ceiling and outside. So unless we batten out the ceiling, we're not going to have enough depth on these joists here to get the ducting out. So we've got to actually plant some of this on, like so, up on the ceiling to give us enough room to get the ducting out. So that's my task for today, and I'm going to get on with it.